Next we'll have Deeksha Vats, who is the Head of Environmental Sustainability at Aditya Birla Group. She has 20 years of experience across diverse industry sectors. She has led numerous projects and initiatives in the areas of corporate sustainability, strategy and reporting, environmental and social due diligence, climate change mitigation, including the development of CDM projects, greenhouse gas accounting, water and waste management. Deeksha?
Good afternoon. I think I was just speaking to my colleague here on the stage that I don't know whether it's good or bad that I'm the last person here to speak. So there's a lot which has been said which makes the whole task easier. But then you would all expect me to say something new and different, so that makes it a little more difficult. So that's how I kind of take it. Thank you for inviting me here. I represent Aditya Birla Group, which is a global conglomerate. We are headquartered out of Mumbai. And as a conglomerate, we work in very, very diverse sectors. We have businesses which are heavy manufacturing like aluminum, copper, cement. And on the other side, we also have services businesses like telecom, retail, apparel. So that makes the overall aspect of working with sustainability that much more challenging. When I stay with waste, we have both generators as well as users of waste in our group of businesses, and we have all possible kinds of waste that one can generate, whether it's hazardous, e-waste, solid waste, so all kinds of waste that we are generating. And what was happening it is still happening in some of our businesses, is that when we talk of waste management, what was being done was meeting the regulatory compliance. Like, that these are the standards and this is what I need to do. So I'm going to send, this hazardous waste would go to a recycler or a TSDF, and then solid waste we would again sell whatever we can, otherwise it goes to the landfill. So that was the approach which was being followed. However, over the last couple of years now, what's undergone a change is that we have, at the group level, framed a sustainability. There's a model and a framework of documents which we've kind of developed, and that enshrines the approach that we are taking towards all aspects of sustainability. And this sustainability model, basically so how we first thing is what is sustainable, what is sustainability. And we said that, as Alka said, that the Tatas have been around and they would like to be around for as many or maybe longer than what they've been around. So we said that sustainability means an ability of a business to sustain itself given the external environment and the internal pressures. So the ability to survive and thrive in future is how we said we would define sustainability for ourselves. And therefore, when we talk of our sustainability model, we say that it's a funnel through which businesses enter, and the entry point is that you're complying. And then the funnel gets narrowed, that are you following international standards, because that adds another kind of constraint to businesses for being able to survive. And then it becomes that what are the international best practices in your area of operation. And ultimate test is, did you look in future to identify what could be your, so to say, unknown unknowns, that you didn't know that this is what could be coming to you. So that's what we define sustainability in our model as. And then how would you look at each of these things is defined or has been defined by the way of a framework of documents, which is a compendium of policies, technical and management standards, and the guidance notes. So policy broadly defining the vision that we have, technical standard talking about what is it that we would do about it, and guidance notes talking about how is it that we would do. So waste management is an integral part of our the sustainability framework on on 3 pillars of sustainability that we talk about. We say that you need to be responsible steward for that aspect. So, how is it, are you complying? Are you looking at how the regulations themselves can change? And if I would use one example, last year almost all the waste management rules in India underwent a change. So did it just come to us as a bolt from the dark, or were we prepared for it? So that aspect we will talk about in terms of responsible stewardship. Another pillar is stakeholder engagement. That are you engaging with the internal and external stakeholders? So local communities, the way your departments work within a factory, and then external strategic stakeholders. So are you engaging with all stakeholders? And then the last pillar is on future proofing. That are you aware of what all could be coming at you? And in the we're looking at all these 3 aspects. So the first part, the responsible stewardship, is in a way addressed, and all of these are addressed by the way of that the waste management is being guided by the environmental policy. We have technical standard on solid and hazardous waste management and wastewater, and then we have guidance notes on how to make plans on waste and wastewater management, how do you handle hazardous waste, non-hazardous waste, and then mining waste. So we have those kind of documents there, and businesses then manage their waste in line with what is being talked about in the relevant technical standard. Talking a little bit about future proofing and linking to that, we're talking about how best practices in waste management are leading us to circular economy. So circular economy is the aspect which we're talking about in waste management through this concept of future proofing. That when we talk of waste management, are we looking at that how we would be able to move to this concept of circular economy, and that's how those aspects are covered through the linkage of other aspects of sustainability. For example, waste management needs to be linked to, are you managing your waste in such a way that your GHG emissions are also addressed, your resources are getting conserved, and my colleagues also spoke about how. So other aspects that we're looking at is that when we talked about waste management and wrote those technical standards and started implementing those technical standards, this is being done in conjunction with the technical standard on resource conservation, the technical standard on product stewardship, our guidance note on life cycle analysis. So they are all being looked at together so that we ultimately move to the whole concept of that how we are able to either prevent so following the hierarchy of waste management which is being spoken about. One of my colleagues even showed it there, that how they are, this, that you look at that the most desirable thing is that can you prevent that waste getting generated. If you can't prevent it, minimize, recycle, reuse, recover, co-process, and then whatever you cannot do under these, that last bit is what you will dispose. So which is, this is the approach which we've taken in our sustainability framework, and which is why when each location, and I would call it a location because I spoke about the kind of businesses that we have. So if it's a factory, or if it's a cement factory, it would be a factory. If it's a warehouse of Madura Fashion Lifestyle, then it would be from there, or it's a more store, so, or an idea circle. So we would look at that location, and there would be 4 key things that would be done at each location. First and foremost is, do you know all the waste that you are generating? So developing an inventory of waste using the material balance approach. So that kind of helps in listing down all types of waste that are generated. So you would identify them, classify them, and quantify them. So that is the first step that they need to know. then parallelly defining the objective and target which would be in line with the ABG technical standard. And then for all these ways which have been identified, a management option depending on, so applying the management hierarchy, waste management hierarchy, that starting from most desirable being preventing it and the least desirable being to dispose it. And then these gaps between baseline and target, they make an action plan and follow that to fulfill those gaps. Now, one of the key things which came up was that we created a lot of these documents. How will we make sure that they are getting implemented and they're being kind of followed? So for that we did multiple things. I'll talk about two key things. One of the things we did was that we converted all these requirements into what we call self-assessment questionnaires. These are simple one-line questions with just 3 answers. Yes, no, not applicable. So does your site have a policy? Are you aware of all the waste that you're generating? Do you have a waste minimization plan? So just yes, no, not applicable. So that kind of makes the sites, it helps them in checking how they're doing, so analyze their performance and also make sure that they're not missing anything. That's one thing. And second thing which we've done is that for each of these aspects, we've created detailed e-learning modules with which that, for awareness and training while we are doing them, providing them classroom training, but so such that it gets driven right up to all levels within factories. We've created these e-learning modules which can then be used at site to train on professionals. So these are the two things. Now coming to some examples, that what is it that we've been doing, or some case studies. So the key thing that I would talk about is that one of our companies, Novelis, which is based out of US, and it's a downstream aluminum flat roll product company. Novelis is the world's single largest buyer and single biggest recycler of aluminum. So they've now, in the year FY16, 53% of the aluminum that they've used to create their products, and they make can body, and they've also now one of the Tata Group companies, Jaguar Land Rover, they've been working with JLR and got together to create a new high recycled content aluminum alloy, which is being used to make the car bodies. So that's one thing which is taking the concept of circular economy to another level. Second example I would talk about is of Ultratech, which is our cement company. It's the largest cement manufacturer in the country. They have been using waste in 2 ways. One is that they have been using it as alternative fuels in their kilns, and their aspiration is to become biggest user of hazardous waste, which has got calorific value, to use it in their kilns. And they also use waste material in the process itself. So chemical and marine gypsum as their additive, fly ash. So when people talk about fly ash management, they say we are sending it to cement plants. So our cement plants are taking them. So that's using the slag from thermal power plants, so fly ash from thermal power plants and slag from steel plants for blending to make PPC. Another set of our businesses, so one whole value chain of businesses that we work in is to make viscose staple fiber, so pulp, fiber, textile, and then apparel. There is that whole value chain that we work in. And that set of businesses have been now working very closely with Sustainable Apparel Coalition on addressing many aspects of environment, and waste and alternative raw materials is one of them. And last example I would talk about is that the 3 examples that I gave of our businesses, a lot of them, or rather most of them, are how they are working with other businesses outside of Aditya Birla in maximizing recycling and reuse of materials. We said, why not do this synergy assessment internally? So the easily recognizable low-hanging things like our thermal power plants sending their fly ash to our cement company was a simple one, or even some of the waste with calorific value going to kilns was there. But we're now taking it a step further to say how we can do it, do it better or take it deeper. So we've recently started doing this synergy assessment on how this can be done across the Aditya Birla Group companies. Last thing that I would want to talk about is, we've talked about many things that we can do. There are some challenges that one faces in waste management and moving to the circular economy, and challenges in waste management which makes it unique as an aspect to handle for an environmental manager, as compared to when you're handling emissions or when you're dealing with water. Waste, you cannot deal with it absolutely if you don't work with a collaborative approach. Waste management is something which needs a very collaborative approach with both internal and external stakeholders, especially when you're aiming at saying that you want to move as closer to a circular economy as possible. So the challenges which are internally there becomes more by the way of the administrative structure that you would have in place at a location. So, it is, what makes it different is from other environmental aspects is that you cannot just leave it on the environmental manager to deal with it. When you want the process departments or the waste generating departments to actually use recycled material, or so take somebody else's waste or send your waste as somebody else's raw material, they become very important stakeholders and their ownership becomes very important. And similarly, when in terms of external stakeholders, identifying downstream or even upstream users, suppliers of reusable material, keeping in mind the regulations as well as product quality requirements, that kind of thought process and thinking is very, very important at the factory locations. So those are the thoughts that I would leave you with. Thank you very much.